Because even the rockers in my that came before me had a certain jerk, but it's more of a transition form for them to create their own environment. You got to remember, a dancer, period, has to show levels of dance and be able to take over a complete dance floor. You understand? The difference between what I say about Bronx style and Brooklyn style is that the Bronx style has that certain transitional aspect when music change to allow us to control a complete dance floor.
Word.
Gotcha.
That style that they do in Brooklyn now does not have that.
Yeah.
It's crazy how you look at b-boys all over the world now, which we are a product of the original rockers, and how the evolution has continued to happen. When you see all of these b-boys go out, each one of them brings his or her own interpretation on what moves them. That is the essence of real dancing.
Definitely.
Rocking right now that comes out of Brooklyn looks so mechanical because everybody wants to look like a Ralph or like a Seven Gem. And let me tell you, they are phenomenal in that aspect and what they do.
Yeah.
That is not a real dance form if you look at it, because there is no evolution that happens.
Do you think there's no Do you think there's no evolution that happens just because it's still in its you could say coming back? Like, it hasn't really been around that long, since the 90s. I mean, 10 years it's still kind of, I mean, for the younger generation it hasn't really been a long time for it to evolve yet. That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly, because if you look at it, if you really look at it, the dance that we consider rocking is really a 1969 through a 1974. Okay, and that's the two aspects of it. It's the outlaw style of dancing and what I call the disco Danny style of dancing.
Yeah.
Okay, now the difference between the disco Danny aspect of dancing and that whole freestyle that I talked to you about that created my generation is the same generation that created Latin hustle, that created voguing, that created lofting, that created webber. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just through that acid freestyle dancing of the disco Danny rock style of dancing, now you can see an evolution of how people interpret it and took it when their environment became available. You understand what I'm saying? That outlaw style of dancing that rockers do today, that's called a rock dance.
Yeah.
Realistically, you can't evolve from it. You really can't. It's funny how tap dancing was phenomenal in the 40s and 50s. And then you look at the nigger twins that was influenced through that. And one of the big influence was, what's the name of this two guys?
Sammy Davis Jr.?
You had Sammy Davis Jr., but you also had the
Nicholas Brothers. Yeah, Nicholas Brothers.
Okay, now you look at that style of tap dancing that they did, in the black and white TV era. They were the only tap dancers, the blacks were the only tap dancers that went horizontal.
Yeah.
When the dance is basically conformed to a vertical look.
Yeah.
It lasted for a certain period of time. Now, can you tell me right now, is that tap dancing style that the Nicholas Brothers used to do and Sammy Davis used to do, is allowed to be done today? You don't see no tap dancers today go horizontal anymore because it took away from that style of dancing. The heart and soul of tap dancing was taken away, and now today, you don't see it being done anymore. Realistically, tap dancing is an Irish dance.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And it didn't allow it to evolve. It sparked interest. and it also became exploited. But just like everything else, you exploit it, you profit from it, and then you let it go.
Word.
You know, even though they were very influential.
Yeah.
But you take away from the dance itself. Let me tell you, that's the beauty of rocking to b-boying. Because no matter where you come from, it allows each person to interpret it, keeping the essence of the dance in its context, and it makes it look different every time.
When did when you talk about the Zulu King style, when did it go to the Latin? When did it become footwork, like 6-step? Who created the 6-step? When was that all done?
All right, there's 3 aspects of what the basic footwork foundation. It starts off with Zulu King style of footwork.
Okay.
Okay, it was changed with salsa. Now, they had that same rhythmic style of dancing when they top rock. So what they did is they condensed a lot of the stuff that Zulu was doing and made it a little bit more rhythmic. That looks, it looks like a complete package when you do it.
Okay.
You understand? All it did is allow the dance to become a complete package, and it had a nice fluent aspect of it. Okay. Now that would change when the CC crew, which was called Crazy Commandos, added a different style to what Zulu King started, what Salso improved on. Now the 6-step and that CC style of footwork would allow you to transition without stopping the dance. So you could get it in and out of transition, but still keep the context of the dance intact. What Zulu did in the beginning didn't allow you to transition to keep the dance intact, because you would actually have to stop to create a freeze.
Yeah.
What Salso did is took that concept and allowed you to transition a little bit more, and became a little bit more fluent for you to go into freezes without taking the context of the dance away. And in 1976, CC Crew established a little bit more funkier of a footwork that allow you to transition from air to top rock to floor rocking to back to top rock, and allowed you to do what's called a stick and move. If you look at Kenny's style of dancing, who I think is the greatest b-boy of our generation, he is the epitome of an evolutionary aspect of rocking to b-boy to the way the dance is being done today. You don't have to go any further than look at Kenny and his style of dancing. That's the epitome of what Zulu laid, Salso improved on, and CC allowed for the dance to evolve.
Wow.
Now, 6-step is not really a dance step. It's something that was created between Fable and myself when we did the first foundational video for DMC, and it's called DMC Original B-Boy Foundation Video.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So what we did is we used a choreographer's count for people to understand how easy and how simple it is for you to learn it with a count, other than us explaining and people having to catch up. So we created this concept, to look like choreographers, for y'all to get the basics, for people to get the basics to a structural dance that allows you to empower what you want to do, how you want to do it, but also keeping the dance context intact, because that is the heart and soul of what we were in my generation.
So you and Fable coined that phrase, 6-step.
Yes. I mean, realistically, it was Fable. Because Fable, at that time, got involved with doing like Jam on the Groove, and he was more into theatrical and expanding the culture other than what's known as the street culture, for him to broaden it up to people who really doesn't understand and allow them to come in and experience what we are. You know, so a lot of that's why I love Fable, because Fable is the guy who inspired me all over again.
Word.
You know, not only what he done and allow me to become a part of and open many doors for me, but he's also the guy who influenced me to start researching and become one of the person, you know, to come to, you know, with the information, because he's been getting a lot of information from me, you know, for years.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I got some great students, and I got some very good, you know, guys who inspire me. Fable is my inspiration to what I do today. But then I got students like Mr. Wiggles. I got Alien Ness, who's one of my first students.
Yeah.
I've been teaching Alien Ness since 1984. You know what I'm saying? And he's maybe not respected as much because the way he is and aggressive when he's in the States.
Yeah.
But what he does outside of the States cannot be matched.
Yeah.
You understand? He is that important to our culture and our cultural movement. Not only the way he teaches the dance, but the character and what he brings to the table, plus the information and knowledge that he has. It's more of a complete package of what you get when you go into a workshop. Very few guys actually have that.
Word.
You know? And he's one of the first. Now, Pole 1 is another one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
These are my students.
Word.
These are my students.
Yeah,
you know? So when you hear them talk about something, like a Wiggles talk about something, or Alien Ness talk about something, or Pole 1 talk about something, it's very hard to dispute because the source is me.
Word.